Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today's episode is going to be my introduction to my Pan That palette for 2024. And also, I'm going to be doing the Better Together project in conjunction with it. So if you want to see what palettes I chose, well then keep watching. We're going to jump right into it. My name is Marie and I am a beautiful mess. Here on my channel, I like to do a lot of project panning content, eyeshadow content, as well as any other kind of makeup content that I can think of. So sit back, relax, and come on a magical makeup journey with me. So like I said, today's episode is going to be my introduction to my Pan That palette for 2024 and also my Better Together palette that I'm going to be using in conjunction with my Pan That palette. These are Pantastic Ladies collabs, and I will have all of their information about their Facebook group in the description box down below. The theme that we voted on as a group this year for the Pan That palette 2024 was fun-sized. So this is a teeny tiny palette that you can fit into a pocket, which is why the thumbnail has that image on it. This project was created by Jacki Lootens. So there were definitely a lot of different palettes that I could have chosen, but I decided to go with this one right here, and there is a specific reason for that. This is the ColourPop Clearly in Love palette. This is one of the 9-pan palettes that I picked up in the summer of 2022. And I do love ColourPop eyeshadows, but the last time I popped into this palette, this shade had sucked itself away from the sides and popped out and was all the way over here, which is why I think you can see some pink on that shade right there. So I had to get my alcohol rubbing, not drinking, rubbing out and repress this shade. So I decided that this was going to be the palette that I wanted to choose for this year because I don't like broken things in my collection, and the Super Shocks that are in here, because there's a couple shades in here that are Super Shocks, this one here and this one here. I want to get used on these palettes, which I have 3 of them, before those dry up. So that's why I chose this. I also thought it was a beautiful color story for everyday work appropriate looks. I could jazz it up a little bit for going out at night. It just speaks to my cool tone soul that I feel like I am in right now. So that is why I went with this palette. Even though I'm very bad at it, let's watch the palette out for you guys. I also kind of want to see how this shade is going to perform. So this is the pinky shade right here. That is called Guess What? Very light. This one is the Super Shock right here, and this one is called My Number. This one right here is called Sprung, and it does have some glitter in it. This next one is called Simp For You, and it is another pearlescent pinky shade. This next one right here is another Super Shock formula called Shoddy. And that's what that one looks like. This very pinky one right here is called Like. So definitely have some lighter tones mixed with some darker tones. And then the brown row, this one right here is called Hey You. This middle, deeper, dark brown shade with some sparkle in it is called Snack. That might be a good eyebrow shade if it didn't have the sparkles in it. And then the deepest brown in the palette here is called Sheesh. And I think that's going to be a good eyeliner shade as well as outer corner. So that is the color story that we are going to be working with for this palette right here. I didn't weigh it before I started filming, but there's 8 grams of product in this palette, but I will definitely make sure that I take the weight on it before I start using it so that I can accurately keep track of what this is looking like on a month-to-month basis, because this project will be updating monthly. So at the beginning, I said this was not only a Pan That palette video, but also my introduction for my Better Together video, because this is kind of limiting. So I decided to participate in Better Together to help me build some more looks and to help work on another palette in my collection. So the Better Together portion was created by Paula, and I will have both creators' information in the description box down below as well. This is the palette that I decided to choose to go with my Pan That palette for 2024. This is a L'Oreal Paris eyeshadow quad, and it is in the shade Army Brats. And I decided to choose this one because I thought that these colors would correspond quite nicely with these colors right here. This is also one of my older eyeshadow palettes in my collection, so I kind of want to use it up and get it out this year. Let me swatch the shadows in this one for you so that we can see the color story that we're going to be working with both of them together. So that is at first goldy shade, a white shade, this gray shade, and then of course you've got a sparkly green right there. So that's the color story that we're going to be working with this year. And I'm actually super excited for this. This is definitely not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination, but this is what we're going to be working on for 2024. This one has 8 grams of product in it, and this one has 4.8 grams of product in it. So together they have 12.8 grams of product in it. I have my Urban Decay Wild West palette that has 11.4 grams of shadow in it. So that's more than my Urban Decay palette has. So this is not going to be a gimme by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm going to be interested to see how fast I can work my way through these palettes, especially with all of the other eyeshadow projects that I'm working on this year. I don't know, I'm kind of thinking that I'm gonna be working through them pretty quickly. Maybe I'm wrong. I usually am when it comes to how fast I can pan makeup. But I have 2 other palettes that are like this one with different color stories for ColourPop. So if I do happen to use it all up before the end of the year, I will roll one of those other ones in. We'll see how crazy I am for thinking that. But those are the palettes that I've chosen for Pan That palette for 2024. So that's everything that I have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. You know I always love when you do. Don't forget, if you like what you see, to hit that like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. It lets YouTube know that you like my content and that other people with the same interests as you will like my content too. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.